made this film special. It's a precision of which Paul Schrader was able to create the character feelings, thoughts and the psychological insight of this character Travis Bickle. And I just identified with him, understood how he felt. I mean, disaffected, dissolute, ostracized from a mainstream society, and for me in my own personal life, being an outsider, a loner, a loser to a certain extent. There was something that touched a chord in me, and that I felt I can express that through the visual interpretation of this film.
This was a quote directly from Maverick film director and producer Martin Scorsese about his iconic feature film Taxi Driver. Born on November 17, 1942 in Flushing, New York, Martin Scorsese, after graduating at the New York University, began making films in the 1960s and has since produced and directed some of the most memorable films in cinema. Most of his films provides an often violent but intriguing perspective on American culture, and the movie Taxi Driver most certainly was one of those films. Scorsese was a lonely man. This influenced the way he made films in that time of his life.
Hi, I'm Francois. I'm here today to talk to you about film director Martin Scorsese and his film New York, New York. You might be wondering why I'm standing on a stage right now. It's a real stage. Well, the reason is the man responsible for making these realistic and violent films like Goodfellas and Casino is also a massive fan of musicals. So at this stage you're probably wondering, okay, it's Martin Scorsese, he's doing a musical, so it's probably about gangsters singing while they're getting shot. Well, not quite. Maverick. We are all here to discuss Maverick directors, right? This film was a giant leap into unexplored territory. It's hard to admire this film, impossible even, but you're missing the point here. You see, Hollywood has a system. They see people as sheep. Well, not literally, but they have a set of formulas to figure out whether or not a film will be successful or if they can make 16 brainless sequels. However, Hollywood does need these bad films or films to make money. Scorsese needs these films to make films like New York, New York. But Scorsese isn't one of these filmmakers. He's not one of those guys that wants to build another extension to his house next week. No. And this is what we are trying to tell you. As filmmakers, you need to be driven, you need to have integrity, and you need to take risks in order to make the films that you want to make. But now, let's let the movies speak for themselves.
During the mid-1990s, one of the most respected filmmakers in Hollywood had wrangled $50 million from Universal Studios to make Casino, another famous Scorsese gangster flick. From the start, it went over schedule and over budget as Scorsese tried to desperately chase down the movie he saw in his head. Marty makes use of stylistic camera movements, long takes and bright lighting to sell the dream that Vegas offers. But as the story progresses, we see that the characters in Casino are being consumed by their own world of violence and greed, a world where their version of the American dream is to steal and sometimes kill in order to keep it. Scorsese explores the sensuality of excess through his characters who are both promoters and victims of excess they manage. For example, Sam Ace Rothstein, played by Robert De Niro, is a control freak and trusts no one, and is consumed by his overpossessiveness and his inability to control the excess of his wife, Ginger McKenna, played by Sharon Stone. Even though Las Vegas comes across as a fictitious mirage of wealth and happiness, it is portrayed as the harsh reality of the crime underworld's playground. The Vice scene is easily the most disturbing and nightmarish footage ever shot by Scorsese, but it illustrates a point about Vegas. As Scorsese said, it underlines the entire structure that creates something like Vegas. The more cash, the more blood. The more shining gold, the more blood. The cracked skulls, the more heads they find in the desert. That's the basis of it.
I quote, Scorsese has succumbed to the fast-cut, hyper-close style of movies that has made our movies pictorially mundane. But being a maverick filmmaker isn't just about having your own unique visual style. It's about asking questions. Something like the American dream, for instance. What's the other side of that coin? We have gangs trying to fight for their piece of that dream, and our soldiers coming back from the war in coffins for something they believed in. There is no honor, no principles. People who have some code of morality, or either disappointed or forced to compromise. It's a country of acts. These are the comments that Martin Scorsese made as the maverick filmmaker, and you know what? They give him an Oscar for it. That's maverick filmmaking. I was your age. They would tell me I could become a cop or a criminal. But what I'm saying today is this: that when you're facing a loaded gun, what's the difference?